welcome again to our live channel. Do you know that in 2050, one among four people in the whole world, will be African? So there is a greatest potential that Africa has that we want to discuss today. So you're welcome again to our live channel. As we always focus on Africa, we want to portray the Africa to the world. Welcome to our live show, Africa to the World, as we discuss the potential of Africa. So wherever you're watching us from, we welcome you, maybe from Ghana, from Liberia, from Egypt, from Asia, from America, from UK, from Latin America, from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, from South Africa. You're welcome. So welcome. So today we want to dive in and we want to discuss this topic, the potential in Africa. We all know that Africa has potential of being a superpower, but there is something that must be done for that level to arrive. There is something that must be done. And for a couple of minutes, I want to discuss the potential of Africa that the world has not yet realized or is not taking serious. And sometimes even we African also, we have not realized. So we want to discuss that, the future and the potential of Africa. If it is worked well, it can help. So number one, we want to look the potential that Africa has is a young population. The young population. Africa has a youngest population in the world, and this is an asset. This is what made China to prosper. Wherever you see a nation like Japan, whereby it has the aging population, and sometimes people who are dying are many than who have been born in the same country. So you see, this country has stopped. Always in history, when you see there is Africa has a workforce that can attract foreign investment and companies. That is what happened in China. When China was booming, it has a larger working force. So foreign companies, they moved their production to China because it was easy to produce something maybe in Europe or sometime in America. Young generation, young population of Africa that is estimated at least 70%. If this population will be utilized well, it can help Africa to be a next superpower. And as I always say, that I believe in Africa, but don't see if Africa will be united one day to have a so-called United States of Africa. I don't believe so. But what I believe is that every nation in Africa should work to improve their own nation, but let us have cooperation, moving goods from one country to another, or traveling from one country to another, or doing business among African nations should be very easy to do business among ourselves. But I don't believe in those Pan-Africanists who say that Africa should be one, because I don't see it happening. I don't see Egypt and Lesotho becoming one nation. I can't see South Africa and Tanzania becoming one nation. I don't see it soon or later. I cannot see it that Ghana and Burundi one day will be one nation. I don't believe so. But what I believe in Africa, but every nation should work together to improve the standard of their own nation. But there must be, or there should be cooperation between us African nations. If we do so, I believe that Africa is a future. Even those who believe in Bible, always God, the population, the birth rate or the growth of population, it is an indicator of a blessing. Wherever there were curse, God says your number will be few. So the population, especially the young population of Africa, if it can be utilized well, it will benefit different nations in Africa. When you see nations like Europe, you see nations like South Korea, where the birth rate has come to a standstill or almost to zero, then you understand that it is just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time that nation is doomed because there is no growth, so they are lacking the workforce, human resources. So if we utilize the human resources in Africa, I believe this is going to help us to develop. Again, another potential that Africa has is natural resources. This is common, has been over discussed in different ways. Some just believe that just because we have massive natural resources, so Africa will develop automatically, and some blame that we have natural resources that always benefit just a few people, and also others blame the external nations, maybe European powers, America, and now Chinese, and others. We always blame. I'm not in that. I'm not subscribing that particular viewpoint. But what I believe is this: I believe the natural resources, especially these rare earths, minerals, and other strategic resources, can help Africa to grow, and that's realized because we have natural resources in almost every nation in Africa. We are blessed with different natural resources, massive arable land, gold, diamonds, cobalt, and other resources, oils, forestry, water, especially in this electric vehicle to make Africa powerful. But we have to move from just believing the natural resources, but we must turn them in an end product. We must know how to create wealth using these natural resources, because just having natural resources like Congo, it doesn't make you richer automatically. Their values have to refine them. That's why you find we have diamonds in Africa, but on the world market, we are not leading in selling diamonds. You find Israel, you find Dubai, you find United Arab Emirates, you find India. They are leader in selling gold on the world market. What happened? They are buying us. They are buying our diamonds here on a low price, and they go and they polish them. They increase value, and they resell them on the global market in higher prices. So this is a disaster, and this will increase the cars in Africa. So for our natural resources to benefit everybody, we must change our perspective. Not just because we have natural resources, it will make us richer automatically. No, but we must use them as a starting point to develop our nations. If we can utilize well our natural resources, I believe every nation in Africa can be a space. There are nations like Singapore, Israel, Japan, South transform themselves to be the global superpowers because of their mind. So first, mindset towards our natural resources. Let us not continue to sing this chorus that, oh, we have massive natural resources, yet our people are still poor. People are dying poor. People are cannot afford basic needs, yet we are richer. So we must change this. This must be changed. We must change this. We must first transform our thinking, our mentality towards these natural resources. Again, we should have best policy on how to supervise and utilize this so that these natural resources will not fall under few powerful hands, those who benefit from these natural resources. So we must ensure that our natural resources are benefiting everybody in a particular nation. So the second potential of Africa is natural resources, but as I said, natural resources on themselves, they will not make us rich automatically. There must be brain behind these natural resources to increase their value and to have a good management and a supervision so that these natural resources will not benefit just the oligarchy, like in Russia, few people controlling these natural resources and benefiting from them, while masses are suffering, dying of hunger, and they cannot afford basic needs and a good life. They cannot send their kids to basic school. They cannot afford healthcare and others. So natural resources is another potential, but it must be utilized well. I remember the Zimbabwean billionaire Strive Masiwa once said that I read his book, Building a Multi-Billion-Dollar Business from Scratch in Africa, and he said he met a Japanese friend, and that Japanese friend told him that we don't have gold, we don't have oil, but we are afraid that he has been insulted. But the Japanese friend explained to him that we don't have gold here, we don't have oil, we don't have diamonds, but we buy them from you and we import them here, and then we refine them, we increase values, and we sell them at the higher prices. So natural resources is there, but we must transform our thinking, our mentality, our policy, our supervision and management of these natural resources. If we don't do so, it will be like a pre-colonial era that we had these natural resources. They have been here since the creation of the earth, but they have not benefited black people or African to that level. They have benefited other peoples, they have benefited the Arabs, the whiteys, and now the Chinese. So it is time for these natural resources to benefit the African people. But that cannot happen automatically. There must be hands to work on that to ensure that it benefits every person in Africa. Number three, it is digital growth. Africa is transforming, is undergoing transformation in digital growth. Number of internet users are increasing in Africa. The uses of AI technology, connection between country to country, fintech, the term of finance. We see innovations in Africa, creation of applications, platforms like M-Pesa, like Nala, like Lazima, and other digital platforms in Africa. So, in the future, Africa will be a great market in terms of digitalization or digital growth. So as Africa is transforming in terms of digital, this will be a influence for growth in Africa. So there must be policy and strategy to ensure that Africa is connected. We must be connected, especially there must be this we call easy to do business in Africa, that I can send money to a person who is in Ivory Coast. I can buy something from my brother who is in Egypt or South Africa, or who is in Mauritania or Comoro or Cape Verde or wherever in Africa. There should be digitalization and the connectivity in Africa. It should be easy for me to do business with my brother who is from maybe Cameroon, from Kenya. The AU and African nations should work on this to ensure that there is digitalization and connectivity of Africa. Africa youth we must be able to do business and to communicate and to exchange knowledges and skills from Africa. We should transform ourselves from this primitive era and primitive era, and to be connected digitally in Africa, in different places in Africa. We must connect ourselves. We must transform ourselves, the way we do business. Let us move from this analog and let us move to digitalization. There should be policy, and let us ensure that these platforms are being utilized well. Let us stop this issue of fear and crackdown and shutting down the internet because of few people interested. Let us move from that and ensure that we are using this digital world for blessings. Okay, you're welcome. So what is your view about this? If you have a question, you have a comment, let us hear. We want to engage with you because we want to build a movement that will be all over Africa, and then we will cross to other world. So you're welcome. You're welcome. We want to hear your view on this. What should be done so that this song we have been singing for years, it is not just a song, but it is a reality that we should move from wish thinking and we go to reality. So another issue is cultural influence. Now we see Africa is influencing our stories, our songs, our movies, is growing, and the Africa stories is reaching other ways. So we must ensure also we invest in this cultural influence, that we influence culturally around the globe, and let us ensure that we don't portray Africa in a bad way. Let us use art and entertainment in a positive way, not in a bad manner, but in a positive way, that we portray Africa in a positive way. Let us maintain our African culture, a culture of respect, a culture of good behavior, a culture of human right, and the value of human. But let us not just imitate foreign culture like our artists half naked and whatever. No, just maintain our own culture. When we want to influence the world in terms of culture, let us ensure that our culture is very respectful. Let us continue to hold our difference, our peculiarity. We should not copy anything from outside and just be like that. No, let us try to be different. Let us try to be different so that Africa will be portrayed in a different manner. Our culture of Africanism, humanity. In South Africa, they say Ubuntu. Let us hold on this culture. Respect of everybody, discipline, moral values in African way. The problem we have, we imitate everything. Our artists half-naked, scandals and whatever. This is not African culture. This is not African art and literature. So I urge you, everyone who want to influence the world from Africa, let us continue to be in African perspective, respect, value, and everything that reflect Africanism or Africanicity. Let us continue in that way. So what can be done now? Because also we have the potential, but there is nothing that grows on itself. There must be intentional growth. Intentional growth. There should be steps that should be taken to ensure that what we have been seeing in Africa is richer, Africa is great, Africa is a superpower. Now we move from just singing and wishing years and years, decades after decades. Now we go to reality. What should be done? Number one, let us stop this endless fighting, nonsense fighting, civil wars. If you see what is happening in Congo, in Eastern Congo, if you see what is happening in North Nigeria, if you see what happened in recent years in Tigray, Ethiopia, if you see what happened and is going on in Sudan, both Sudan and South Sudan, South Sudan, they separated themselves from Sudan, yet they are continuing to fight now themselves. At the first, we thought the problem is maybe the Muslim part or the Arabic part of Sudan, but now they are fighting themselves. So what's the problem? Again, what you see is going on in Sudan between RSF and the Sudanese army. It is very sad. So we must stop this endless fighting. Let us go back to our African way of solving problems. Let us narrow this issue in a village level. You know, in African culture, in most nations, in most African societies, there were elders and there were rules and regulations on how to solve problems in a village level. Wherever there is a crisis, there is a conflict, there is a problem, there is a way of solving this problem. So Have we failed to solve this problem? So you cannot build while fighting. Whether there is no justice, there will be no peace. So we must ensure that we stop this endless fighting. See what is going on in Libya. See what is going on in Sudan. Despite their massive oil, but you cannot develop, you cannot build a country if you just try to build a nation maybe for 5 years. As you start settling, then elapse another civil war, and you demolish your infrastructures, you demolish your houses. Kids are not going to school, business not going, is not being conducted, sports stops, anything, everything stops. So you cannot develop in such a way. You cannot continue in such a way. There must be time that we say, silence the gun, let us discuss, and let us respect each other. Let every man be respected, because most of time, despite other reasons, these fightings are the result of injustice that is going on in Africa. So we must stop this endless fighting, endless war. How long shall we keep fighting and keep fighting? And what have we benefited from this fighting since independence? Just destruction, backwardness, and all the disasters you can mention. So we must stop the, but again, rule of law. We must ensure that there is rule of law in Africa, for Africa to rise, for African nation to rise. Again, belief in us. We must believe ourselves. And when I say believe in ourselves, not just wish thinking, not just saying, oh, Africa, we are best. No, show us you are best now. Show us by action. Don't just say, show us by actions. So we must believe in ourselves. We must believe our youths, our technology, our innovations, and our way of thinking, but in a advanced way. Not just this primitive and victim mindset. African Union is seeking reparations because of what happened decades ago. This guy will not make Africa great. Let us forget those and let us build a new Africa. Let us start thinking in a new way and believe that we can compete with the Japanese. We can compete with Europeans. We can compete with Americans. We can compete with Jews. That is what I believe we must focus on. We must improve our way of thinking and our own way of doing things that we can compete. But don't just sit down and say we are bestie, or we have that and that and that. That will not help us. Action speaks louder than words. Let our action speak louder. Speak louder than our words. So we must believe in us. Again, competitiveness. You know, sometimes some people who look like me, they have this victim mindset. They want to be given special treatment, special privilege. That's why in America, Donald Trump said he ended this DI, that people should be given a chance because of their color. He said, no, we are going back to use common sense. People will be given a chance based on merit, their merit. This is what also the late, greatest Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was fighting for. He said that, I want to live in a nation, or I want my 4 kids to be in a nation that they will be judged based on their qualification, their content, not their color. But I think most of people didn't understand that. So there are some people who want chance because of their color. And that's why sometimes I hear our leaders, maybe ANC from South Africa or the African Union, They say, oh, Africa should be given a seat in UN Security Council. Of course, Africa should be given a seat, but why? Just because we are black, we should be given a chance, or because we can compete? So I believe in competition. Let us stop this victim mindset that I should be given a chance because of my color. I have said this is my personal philosophy. I want to develop myself. I want to build capacity that I can compete with anybody in this world, regardless of our environments. Maybe some people they grow in a privileged society. They have everything, best infrastructures, best schools, and whatever they got from their parents and their nation. But that will not limit me. Elon Musk was born in South Africa, but now he is greater than anybody who was born maybe in California, in New York, and whatever. So this is my personal philosophy. I believe in competition. So we must compete. My fellow black man, wherever you're watching me from, maybe from Cameroon, from Cairo to Cape Town, from Dakar to Dar es Salaam, from Nairobi to Monrovia, from Accra, wherever you're watching me, from Conakry, in Yamoussoukro, in Yaoundé, Nokot, wherever you're watching me from, possess this mindset that I will compete no matter what. I don't want somebody to feel sorry for me because of my color, and I don't want to be treated as a special person. No, all I want is level ground. Let us play. Who wins, let them win. Who loses, let them go and learn. That is what I believe. So I don't believe in this issue of just give them chance because of their color. No, I'm not in that issue. I don't believe so. So we must develop the competitiveness. We must teach our kids in schools that in this world, for you to have a place on the globe map, on the world map, you must compete. You must be able to compete with American. You must be able to compete with Europeans, with British, with German, with Japanese, with Chinese, with Korean, with Jews, with Arabs. You must be able to compete with them. And this is possible. Imagine Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane wasn't born in a very rich area. He didn't grow up in a best infrastructure, yet he's now a major player globally, global icon. So it is possible, regardless of our environments, yet we can compete. Regardless of what happened, the colonialism, segregation, and whatever, yet I believe in competition. I believe we can compete and win. So we must develop this competitiveness. We must teach our kids how to compete. We must teach our kids to have strong mindset, strong charisma, strong emotions. Not just continue pushing this narrative of segregation, colonialism, making them weak. No, we must teach them that you have to compete with everybody. You are best, you are enough, you can make it, you can do it, regardless of where you're coming from, regardless of how people say about you, how people feel about you, yet you can compete. As I said, look Elon Musk, look Sadio Mane. They were not born in very rich areas, yet Sadio Mane is a global, is a major player. Elon Musk has surpassed everybody. He was born just here in South Africa, yet now he's the best one. So regardless where you're coming from, regardless of your environment, regardless of what you went through or you are going through right now, wherever you're watching me from, you can compete. So for Africa to rise, We must install this mindset to our kids, especially in school, in churches and mosques, and the parents should teach their kids to be world competitors. Another one, let us fix our mindset, because any change, any developments starts in mind. So if we have wrong mindset, poor mindset, regardless of the potential we have, regardless of natural resources we have, that will be useless. Useless. Have you asked yourself why we were colonialized? Why we were colonized? Why were we colonized? Have you asked this question? How comes it that maybe 1,000 British men entered in a massive area of maybe 50,000 people, and they managed to defeat them and colonize them and transform them in a matter of few decades? Have you asked this? If we don't change this pre-colonial mindset, we will continue being controlled directly or indirectly. That's what we call neo-colonialism. So we must change our mindset. We must ask hard questions and be able to receive hard answers. Sometimes we in Africa, we don't like the truth. We just hide under racism and this anger because of what happened to us, because of the past. But sometimes we must sit down that how comes few people from Netherlands, they sailed to South Africa, just a few people, and they built a successful South Africa, and they managed to colonize the natives in South Africa. How comes? What is this determination? What made them colonizers? What made them defeaters? Until now I am speaking English because of the British. So we must fix this mindset, and we must correct decades of wrong perspective and determinations and mindset that made us to be colonized. If we don't change that, we will continue in blaming and crying and blaming and crying year after year, decade after decade, and nothing will change in Africa. There should be intentional growth, not just growth that happens naturally. You know, there is growth that happens naturally, and there is growth that happens intentionally. You can grow intentionally, especially in your mindset, economically, in your career. You can decide to grow intentionally, or you can wait or growing naturally. So our mindset, again, we should refine education. I was already spoken about this. Our education system should be reformed to ensure our youth are getting what is required now. You know, the world has changed. Chinese are learning innovations, coding. They are learning the valuable skills, the most needed skills right now. But we continue in history, in those African education, you know, the colonial era education system, reading, writing, and whatever. So we must change this. We are in the digital era, in information technology era, and right now we are in the AI race. So we must ensure that our youth our kids are learning skills that are needed right now, because in near future, in just coming years, most skills will not be useful because of the information technology and the artificial intelligence era. So we must reshuffle, we must change our education system to ensure that it fits to the global changes that are happening right now. We should not continue business as usual with those colonial era education, and we must not push our kids that go to school, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer, because there is employment. Employment is now a problem in Africa. Why? Because we have been pushing our kids to school, and the end result that we expect is them to go to school, and then after that they get employment. So we must change our education system to ensure that our youth, our kids are learning the best skills that are needed in this information technology era and artificial intelligence era, or coding technology, these skills that are needed. You can now work from here. I am, maybe you are in Kenya or Tanzania or Uganda or Liberia. You can be working for Germany while sitting in Accra. So we must change, especially in this digital era. We must ensure that we are transforming our education system to fit in to the demand of the market now. If you continue with this mindset that go to school and be a doctor, go to school and be a lawyer, go to school, be an engineer, go to school, be a teacher, make sure that you have basic grades, that is a basic chance for you to be employed somewhere. There is time coming, employment will be even more scarcity than we are now. So we must teach our kids to learn basic skills, or you must teach yourself. You can transform yourself. If you have been looking for a job maybe for 6 years since you graduated from college, you can change, learn new skills, use these tools available, online education, learn new skills and improve yourself. The world will look after you. So we must change our education system. But again, we must build Africa-centered businesses. We must believe in our own innovation, our own fashion, our own businesses. We must ensure that we believe in them and we empower them. Governments should empower, should help young men and young sisters and and all people in Africa to build their own businesses and to ensure that those businesses are going global. And also, as I said earlier, we must help connect Africa, ensure that there is easy to do business, moving goods from one country to another. Let us remove these bureaucracies and these tariffs and this complication. Also, we must ensure that traveling from one nation to another is very easy. You know, sometimes we blame the European nations or America that, oh, there is restriction for some people to travel to America. Yet, even here in Africa, it is very difficult for me to move maybe from here to Nigeria, or from Tanzania maybe to South Africa, from South Africa to Congo, from Congo to Ivory Coast. Sometimes it's very difficult, there is complication, there is bureaucracy. So instead of just blaming the external people, Europeans, American, let us ensure that there is freedom of movement in Africa, moving goods from one country to another, traveling from one country to another, moving technology and skills from one country to another. Let's ensure that there is easy. If for me here in Tanzania, I want to do business in Cameroon, there should be easy to do business for us, for us. But if there is complication just in Africa, why do we blame the American? Why do you blame that you have been denied to go to America or to England? While even here in Africa, moving from one country to another, it is very difficult. Of course, I understand there is this issue of security and terrorism and whatever. We must deal with those issues. We must eradicate these issues of insecurity and terrorism and radicalism, so that there is easy to do business among us Africa. So we must believe in Africa businesses, but also we must ensure that there is freedom of traveling, freedom of movement amongst us. Moving goods from Cameroon to Nigeria should be easy. Moving goods from Somalia to Liberia should be easy. Moving goods from South Africa to Tanzania should be easy. Also, traveling from one country to another country in Africa should be made easy, so that we can grow our businesses, and our youths and business people can exchange skills and knowledges. So we must also do that. And again, we must reduce corruption and strengthen institutions. Corruption is a cancer, is a tumor in Africa. When there is corruption, investment dies, the young people or the youth lose hope, and talent leaves this continent. So we must ensure that corruption is reduced. Maybe it is impossible to eradicate corruption completely, but we must ensure that corruption is reduced, because these corruptions restrict even FDI, foreign direct investment in Africa, and it makes it difficult for people, especially young men. You have your idea, you have graduated from college, you want to establish a business, you don't have capital, you need some people to help you, yet they ask you to give something before they help you. So this is what making people risk their life, making black people risk their life to cross it to Europe, to cross it to America, dying on their today because of these issues, like corruption, and not depend on individual brilliance. That because we have a strong leader, believes in himself, that he is alone, we must build institutions and ensure this corruptions and bureaucracy is reduced. Let young people be helped to establish themselves, to establish their businesses and whatever. So if we fail to do so, talents will continue leaving Africa. Then we'll have brain drain. Again, from reducing corruption and strengthening institutions, we must ensure that regional unity. We have ECOWAS, we have SADC, we have EAC, East Africa Community. We must strengthen this regional unit to combat different issues, natural disasters, insecurity and terrorism. Yes, we must do that. For example, if the East Africa community is strengthened, it is well conducted, there is at least 300 million market in EAC, just EAC itself. That is to ECOWAS. I think ECOWAS is larger than EAC. That is what to the South Africa, the SADC. So we must also strengthen this regional unity. ECOWAS